Well, greetings, everyone. If you want your life to be a magnificent story, then begin by realizing that you are the author. So, welcome one and all to the Namaqua Unitarian Universalist congregation. My name is Laurel Liefert, and I serve as the minister of this warm, wonderful, justice loving community of seekers. I use the pronouns she, her, and hers. And we, like all Unitarian Universalist congregations, are an intentionally inclusive congregation that believes all people are worthy of love. And so all are welcome here. So, my friends, we have had quite a week. After the events last Wednesday at the US Capitol, and as our nation gears up for Inauguration Day, when President-elect Joe Biden and his Vice President Kamala Harris will take the oath of office. And so on this day, let's reaffirm our commitment to protect our democracy, to protect the integrity of its principles and the rights of all people. The moment has come to join other justice-loving faith communities to call for true accountability, to call for courageous action by national leaders, some of whom I think finally have realized that enough is enough. I hope as a nation that we can use this moment as an opportunity for waking up, that it can be a basis for significant and lasting change, and we know that there is still a lot of work to be done. So in the meantime, on this beautiful snowy winter morning, it's very good to be together. Those of you who joined me in the Zoom room the day after the Capitol insurrection, there was such tenderness and gratitude at simply being together. And I know that I am eternally grateful for this community and for the very special service that we have coming up today. So you'll see soon enough that this decade's service has a reputation as being one of everyone's favorite services, and I think you'll see what I mean. And I wonder if we have any first-time visitors here today. If so, it's your lucky day because you did tune in on a very special Sunday. So if we do have visitors, do you mind unmuting your microphone and you can say hello? And if we were in our sanctuary, we'd give you a boisterous round of applause to welcome you. And if anybody new?
Hi, my name is Kathy. I was a former member of Foothills UU and looking for a new home.
All right. Well, if you'd like to find out more about the congregation and get on our list to receive our weekly email blasts, and also I'd be happy to talk to you more about Namaqua, would you please type your name and maybe contact information into your chat, and we will be in touch. So welcome to Kathy. Anybody else?
Yes, hi, this is Charlotte Jordan, and I've actually been kind of lurking in the background for a few months and watching and waiting for an opportunity to greet everyone. And so I've been really enjoying it. It's been very helpful during these difficult times.
Yes. Well, welcome to you, Charlotte. So we like people who have been lurking to go ahead and come forward and introduce yourself so that we can welcome you more intentionally. And if you haven't already picked it up, I think Namaqua is a very, especially warm community, and we are very committed to being authentically ourselves. We say that we're a come as you are congregation. So come as you are, Kathy and Charlotte, and welcome. And anybody else? Well, I hope that you'll come back and perhaps find a spiritual home here. We're still, unfortunately, in the time of the pandemic. And because of this, we continue to meet virtually. There's certainly silver linings to being able to meet like this. But the imperfection of technology means that we need to be a little bit tolerant if people's faces freeze or if the quality of sound isn't always perfect. But that's why Sarah, our Zoomer for today, muted everyone because the quality of sound is better. So I will instruct our speakers today to unmute and then mute again after you speak. And thank you to Sarah once again for being our most faithful Zoomer. Today, our joys and sorrows will be times when you can type into the chat box, but everyone will have a chance to unmute after the service if you stick around for our virtual coffee hour. And so now, Taylor Trull, would you please say the words of lighting our chalice, and I will light Namaqua's chalice.
Just pay attention, then patch a few words together, and don't try to make them elaborate. This isn't a contest, but the doorway into thanks, and a silence in which another voice may speak. Come, let us worship together. Come, let us listen and give thanks.
And every Sunday in unison, we recite our congregational affirmation. And so if you'd please join me, still muted, but please say with me these words. Love is the spirit of this church, and service its call. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. And now our opening song, The Circle Game.
Yesterday, a child came out to wander, caught a dragonfly inside a jar. Fearful when the sky was full of thunder, and tearful at the falling of a star. And the seasons, they go round and round, and the painted ponies go up and down. We're captive on a carousel of time. We can't return, we can only look behind from where we came, and go round and round and round in the circle game. Then the child moved 10 times round the seasons, skated over 10 clear frozen streams. Words like, when you're older, must appease him, and promises of someday make his dreams. And the seasons, they go round and round, and the painted ponies go up and down. We're captive on the carousel of time. We can't return, we can only look behind from where we came, and go round and round and round in the circle game. 16 springs and 16 summers gone now. Cartwheels turn to car wheels through the town, and they tell him, take your time, it won't be long now, till you drag your feet too slow, the circle's down. And the seasons, they go round and round, and the painted ponies go up and down. We're captive on the carousel of time. We can't return, we can only look behind from where we came, and go round and round and round in the circle game. So the years spin by, and now the boy is 20. have lost some grandeur coming true. There'll be new dreams, maybe better dreams, and plenty before the last revolving year is through. And the seasons, they go round and round, and the painted ponies go up and down. We're captive on the carousel of time. We can't return, we can only look behind from where we came, and go round and round and round in the circle game, and go round and round and round in the circle game.
So here we all are going round and round and round together in the circle game. And this morning we continue Namaqua's wonderful tradition of the Decades service. Soon you will hear Aidan Christensen read the words to the Mary Oliver poem, A Summer Day, in which she asks this eternal compelling question. Tell me what it is you plan to do with your one wild and precious life. This morning we have 9 members and friends of our multi-generational congregation who will share their answers to the question. And our Decades service is a way for us to listen with love to the hopes and plans of people of various ages and stages in their lives. So how does one wild and precious life look when you're in your first decade? And growing older in an ever-changing world, how might it change? Even though as people's perspectives and lives may differ and change based on their age and their families, shaped by the world and their experiences, we can see how despite the differences, we all share a basic common humanity. We need one another. And I offer you this image by Wendell Berry of circles within circles, joined in a dance of life. We clasp the hands of those who go before us and the hands of those who come after us. We enter the little circle of each other's arms and the larger circle of lovers whose hands are joined in a dance, and the larger circle of all creatures passing in and out of life, who move also in a dance to a music so subtle and vast that no one hears it except in fragments. And so I want to thank so much you speakers who have had the courage to try to summarize your answer in less than 4 minutes. And we all support you and thank you for being with us and for sharing your words. I think all of you should know that each of us is essential to create this moving, meaningful testament to what it means to be fully alive. And so I invite you to use your imagination to picture us all now gathered together, safe and warm, listening and sharing stories of our lives under the canopy of branches of our imaginary story tree. I can't wait until we're back in our sanctuary under our imaginary story tree there. But the theme for this month is imagination, and I'm sure that all of you are creative and imaginative enough to picture this canopy, this beautiful canopy of this story tree. And as Taylor read in the words to the chalice lighting, let this morning's service be the doorway into thanks and a silence in which another voice may speak. Come, let us listen and give thanks. And now, Aidan, please read us Mary Oliver's poem. So you can.
Who made the world? Who made the swan and the black bear Who made the grasshopper? The grasshopper, I mean, the one who has flung herself out of the grass, the one who is eating sugar out of my hand, who is moving her jaws back and forth instead of up and down, who is gazing around with her enormous and complicated eyes. Now she lifts her pale forearms and thoroughly washes her face. Now she snaps her wings open and floats away. I don't know exactly what a prayer is. I do know how to pay attention, how to fall down into the grass, how to kneel down in the grass, how to be idle and blessed, how to stroll through the fields, which is what I have been doing all day. Tell me, what else should I have done? Doesn't everything die at last, and too soon? Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life?
Laurel, you're muted.
Thanks. Sorry. Thanks, Aiden. You did a wonderful job. And now we're going to start listening to our speakers. And what I was suggesting is that you turn your audio up. Our first speaker is Aiden Comer, and he recorded his on video. And so if you want to hear him well, please turn your audios up. And Aiden, thank you so much for your thoughts.
One thing I would do with my wild and precious life would be to spend as much time with nature and dogs, and I would choose dogs specifically because I just think they give me so much love and happiness. And yes, I am biased because I have to, but that doesn't matter. And also I would like to try and stop or have as little as possible high kill shelters, because it's unfair if a dog in 1 month doesn't get adopted, then he gets put down for something he didn't do and that wasn't his fault. So yeah, those are two things I would want to do with my wild and precious life.
Thank you, Aiden. May it be so. And now Taylor Troll. Tell us what you would do with your one wild and precious life.
I wrote a little speech thingy because I'm not good at talking on the spot. Okay. My second decade of life. Halfway through. Well, you get the point. Since my last decade service, I finished middle school, yikes, and I'm a freshman in high school. These have been a very strange 4 years. First, Trump was elected, and all the chaos that followed that. Now that I look back, 2017 and 2018 were pretty quiet. 2020 was a whole mess, as everyone knows. I mean, we exceeded so many things not many people thought were possible. It's like Mother Nature, or whoever you believe in, was all like, oh, I know. Push this pandemic button. That'll spice things up. Haven't done that in a while. Lady, we were perfectly happy with the chaos that Trump had already instilled. We didn't need more stuff. It's okay though. Trump doesn't believe in masks, so in a way we won. Yeah, that logic doesn't make sense to me either. I could go on a 1,000,000-hour rant about why we should not elect people to office who are not fit for office, but we'd be here forever. Mary Oliver asked us what we would do with our one precious life. What will I do with my one precious life? I will strive to be a better person and take example from carefully chosen, powerful women. I will be like those I look up to and never judge a person if I don't know them. Once you know them, however, judge away. Some of the things my best friend Kayla does, man, I don't even know. I will never treat someone differently based on their looks. I will love everyone unconditionally, even if they were a stranger. I've learned the hard way that everyone is going through something, even if not shown on the surface. I will be kind and generous and help all who I can. Man, I sound like a drunk New Year's Eve person rambling. Well, oh, that's my new favorite word. Well, I think I made it up, but it's cute, so it's staying. Sorry, got distracted. Oh yes, I will make sure to love those close to me as much as I can, even when they are being exceedingly difficult. I mean, love your family. In these trying times, your family are the last people you want to see at the end of the day. I get it. School at home sucks. However, you're given this one precious life, and it's not your choice what the world does around you, but your choice to make the world you want to live.
Well spoken. Thank you, Taylor. I think if we were together, we would be giving a round of applause first to Aidan. Well, first to Aidan Christensen, then to Aidan Comer, now to Taylor Troll. And for the Time for All Ages, it's an old chestnut of the song we used to sing together in our sanctuary at the end of each service. This is Unitarian Universalism in a nutshell.
It's a blessing you were born. It's a blessing I was born. And it matters what you do. And it matters what I do. What you know about God. What I know about God. Is a piece of the truth. Is a piece of the truth. Let the beauty you love. Let the beauty I love. Be what you do. Be what I do. And you don't have to do it alone. And I don't have to do it alone. It's a blessing we were born. It's a blessing we were born. And it matters what we do. And it matters what we do. What we know about God. What we know about God. Is a piece of the truth. Is a piece of the truth. Let the beauty we love. Let the beauty we love. Be what we do. Be what we do. And we don't have to do it alone. And we don't have to do it alone. We don't have to do it alone. Don't have to do it alone. Cha cha cha.
Once again, as we move along now to people who have been around a little bit longer, let's begin with Lizzie Suriani.
Hello, my name's Elizabeth, and I'm one of the speakers for the 20s. In all honesty, this was similar to the question you get at a job interview. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? But we're going to amp it up a bit and let it encompass your whole life. So no stress there. So here's the short answer. I want to travel, create, experience life, and use my abilities to benefit others. For number 1, travel. I plan on using every opportunity that I can to travel and experience as many cultures and countries that I possibly can. I believe that you can never fully understand your own culture until you have experienced someone else's. I also must add that I have a tattoo of the world map, and I fill in a new country every place I go. So it would be a little bit embarrassing to die with nothing filled in. So got that. For my second one, create. So as many of you know, I am an artist, and I hope to continue this throughout my whole life. But since returning home from Bangkok and finally getting an art studio to work from, I've been able to consider myself fully self-employed, even though I haven't made much of it yet, and this is a pandemic after all. I can say that I'm the happiest when I have the time to create at my own speed and do what I want. I do plan to eventually make a name for myself in the art world. It sounds crazy, I know, it's crazy. But I want to leave this world with having created artworks that affect people and how they view the world. Number 3, experience life. Enough said. This could be something as simple as spitting milk out of my nose from laughing too hard, or just being happy and in the moment. I will say one of the best moments so far has been when I was at a drag show in Bangkok. And I will also mention that I was not completely sober. So that evening, after being surrounded by friends and others who were so incredibly happy, I drunk texted my parents from halfway around the world to thank them for how they raised my sister and I. At least I'm a happy drunk, so there's that. Number 4, I will use my abilities to benefit others. This is another hard one. How would I ever be able to do this? There are so many things that I want to be a part of, from ocean cleanup and global warming to refugees and immigrants. But how do I use the abilities that I have to help with such substantial and daunting tasks? I don't know, but I know I need to start somewhere. So if anyone has some recommendations or tips, hit me up, let me know. But currently, the ability that I am using to help others would be through my artwork. I'm currently creating an exhibition that focuses on people and the oppressions that they face. Many of the volunteers that have told me that they're a part of this collection is to talk about what they have faced and to bring to light the atrocities that they have gone through, as well as speak out for those who are too afraid to at this time. Hopefully this will help allow people to heal in the end. We'll see. It may seem like a lot, and it is, but hopefully I'll get through it all.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. And actually, I think after each speaker, so starting retroactively with Aidan Christensen, it's a blessing you were born, and it matters what you do with your life. Aidan Comer, it's a blessing you were born, and it matters what you do with your life. Taylor Troll, it's a blessing you were born, it matters what you do with your life. And Lizzie, it's a blessing you were born, and it matters what you do with your life. So thank you. And now a video of Hannah Rodriguez and her baby, Harmony.
Hi, I'm Hannah. What will I do with my wild and precious life? As I grow older, I am realizing that I want a simple life. I will love deeply, truly, and fondly the precious beings that are a part of my life. I will be present with every smile, every laugh, every tear, and every emotion that bubbles up from the depths of my soul. I will honor my truth and live fully in the present moment, enjoying each moment as it comes and goes by. I will continue to strive towards my aspirations. I may not accomplish them all within my life, but I will love deeply, and may that be enough for me. Namaste.
And namaste to you, Hannah. It's a blessing you were born, and it matters what you do with your life. And now Brenda Christensen.
I answered the question of what I will do with my one wild and precious life 4 years ago when I was 39. At 39, I talked about feeling like I was in the cusp of Christmas Eve, filled with excitement for what I dreamt would happen. I was passionate about teaching and grateful that the years I spent healing from a traumatic childhood were coming to fruition. I was full of hope and excitement at the possibilities that awaited my family and I. Now at 43, having spent most of last year ill due to the coronavirus, which meant leaving my teaching job and being homebound, some weeks bedbound, I'm still excited and grateful. It took me a while to work through the grief of losing my students and the health that I took for granted. Some days I still struggle, but my grief shifts when I remember that loss is not the same thing as defeat. The lessons I'm learning now after losing so much of my physical health are the same ones I've been learning my whole life while healing my mental health. How to be here now, how to tell my truth, how to ask for and accept help, and how to trust my body. I hope that I will make a full recovery, but I know that whatever my health is each day, that I'll do my best to stay true to my personal credo, the one I developed in the Building Your Own Theology class at Namaqua. My credo is my promise to myself, and it states, I radiate love by being grounded in my humanity and exuberant in my divinity. For me, this means knowing that I am temporary and flawed and perfect. And it also means giving into the pure joy of connection with God, with my husband and my son, and other dear humans, and with flowers and butterflies and trees and birds. My one wild and precious life, no matter how big or small, will still be filled with joy and love because I will look for joy and love with grateful, humbled eyes.
Thank you, dear Brenda. It's a blessing you were born, and it matters what you do with your life. So we are grateful for you, and all of us, I think, are grateful for an opportunity to share our joys and sorrows in community. And today, as I mentioned, we'll do joys and sorrows, where if you can please type into the chat box if you have a birthday or an anniversary that you're celebrating, or if something is going on in your personal life where you would like to ask for the comfort and loving thoughts of this community, or have us celebrate with you if you have a joy. Oh, so Mickey needs to leave. He says that it's one of his favorite services, but his joy is that his mom turns 95 today, and he and Vaughn will travel to Denver to share a birthday lunch and cake. So his mom is still independent, still driving, and surrounded by friends. Happy birthday to your mom, Mickey. And Barbara Fleming will turn 85 on Tuesday. So happiest of birthdays to you, Barbara. And we celebrate you. Janet Gillette's brother, Lauren Wilson, had a stroke, and he's in rehab now. Marilyn Brandenberger is grieving for their dear friend Rick, who is dying of pancreatic cancer. Taylor Troll says to Lizzie, awesome, Lizzie, the U.S. needs a new cabinet position, Secretary of Arts and Culture. 4.5% of the U.S. GDP comes from arts and culture, more than transportation and more than agriculture. You'd be my first pick. And Rini Poole, my joy is John and I received our vaccinations yesterday morning. Well, congratulations. And Alice Kane wishes Barbara Fleming a happy early birthday and says to Rini how wonderful that she and John got their vaccinations. Our beloved Karen Brock, so far away in Morocco, sends her greetings. And unfortunately, their dog, Talk, she says, I'm sad that Ian's and my dog, Talk, had to be put down last week. I'm grateful that during a break between semesters, I'm able to travel in Morocco for the next 2 weeks, which will include a trip to the Sahara. And I'm so happy to be able to watch this service, always one of my favorites. So greetings back to you, Karen, and love. And Atulia got a vaccination as well last Friday. This is a trend. Good luck to everyone. And well, we're so happy to have you back. And her joy is happy to be here. And once again, she's on her way to Mexico, on her way to Mazatlan for 4 months. So safe travels to you. And Taylor has her best childhood friend is coming to Colorado for Valentine's Day weekend. It's been 6 years since she's seen him. So that'll be great. And I don't know if I have any other chats. Peter Schenk says that he's having an art sale in his driveway on Wednesday. Very low prices, such a deal. And if there's anyone else, now is the time to type your joy or sorrow. I didn't do our ritual of placing pebbles, but I'll go ahead and put a handful in. And that includes the joys and sorrows of those of you who may feel too tender or shy to speak up. We send our comfort out to everyone in our community. We had Margot Irwin, who says that, yeah, she's had 2 losses recently. Her dear Aunt Esther died at the age of 95. And she also lost an old friend to an overdose on Christmas. And this is just coming on the heels of losing Tim, her husband's grandmother, just a few weeks ago. So we're so sorry, Margot. And we have lit behind me the 2 candles representing the joys and sorrows of the world that are beyond our virtual walls. But we ripple out with our love and our values into the world, using our gifts to bless the world in the spirit of love. And now another recording we haven't seen for quite a while. So we can imagine being in our sanctuary and being comforted by one another's presence.
Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Sing with me. Sing with me, sing with me, sing with me, oh my soul. Sing with me, sing with me, sing with me, oh my soul. Dance with me. Dance with me, dance with me, dance with me, oh my soul. Dance with me, dance with me, dance with me, oh my soul. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul.
It's been 10 months since we recorded that song. It's Janet Gillette and Lauren Daly. And I seem to recall it was Karen Brock who had the idea of taking the recording, because we found that live music doesn't really work on Zoom. But I hope that you did feel the comfort that we embrace one another with. And now moving on to some more wild and precious lives, I invite Pedro Lopez to unmute and share your response to the question.
When I think of the future, I can only think of the past and how it shaped my life. I remember at age 4 watching drizzling rain create ripples in a puddle and wanting to understand. I've been a curious person my entire life in both senses of the word. seeking understanding. Over my 57 years, there's the impact of my parents, blue collar, hardworking, too stubborn to give up, valued education, and also ran their own businesses. They instilled many values in me: work hard, educate yourself, don't give up, as well as judging people by their abilities and not simply by education, race, or social background. So I was the first member of my family to graduate from college. It took a while to get started, but in the middle of a recession, but I never gave up. That's why I empathize with our recent graduates. I've had a number of jobs in college and whenever I needed work: print shops, restaurants, doing research surveys over the phone, factories, U.S. Forest Service, and Bureau of Land Management. But my main career focus was in IT and software. From that varied experience, I saw good management and poor management. I studied both good and bad managers. I also discovered, even in the STEM fields, perhaps more so, most of the problems were human problems: organizing, training, motivation, and conflict resolution. I also discovered working under fluorescent lights drove me crazy. While working for an environmental engineering company, I fell in love with hydrology. I went to CSU and got an MS in watershed science. Water has been my passion, probably since age 4. I've worked with a volunteer organization on river restoration, sometimes paid, mostly unpaid. It is my passion, and I use other jobs to subsidize my environmental work. For future direction, obviously I'm entering a phase of life where I should transfer knowledge to future generations. This occurred to me after working with and training volunteers and an intern. I enjoyed watching them grow into the job, and their feedback was overwhelmingly positive. An interview for a teaching job at Front Range Community College also inspired me to continue my environmental work and teach. I hit on this later in life, but maybe I wasn't ready. It does make sense. So I'll grow, stay curious, teach, and never underestimate the impact of positive relationships.
Pedro, thank you. And it's a blessing you were born, and it matters what you do with your life. So thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
And if you want to go ahead, oh, good. Thank you for muting. Such a rich sharing here today. And let's move on now to Rebecca Williamson.
When Laurel first asked me if I'd be willing to participate in the decade service, I thought, well, sure. But then I thought, why me? There are lots of people at Namaqua who are in their 40s. And then I remembered that my daughter was 53. So, oh my God, has the universe ever played one good cosmic joke on me? Here inside my head, I'm a 40-something, but with the daughter 53. But then just 4 days ago on my birthday, my friends informed me I was 74. How did that happen? I don't know. So what's my plan for my one wild, precious life? I intend to continue down the path Thich Nhat Hanh suggested when he said, there is no way to happiness. Happiness is the way. So first, I plan to stay curious. Curious enough to spend weeks reading about Greenland and the early explorers of its ice field. Curious enough to learn a new game, like Mahjong. Thank you for your patience, Norma, Polly, and Meg. Curious enough that maybe this year will be the year that I'll learn to speak French, or try to get that law degree, or maybe I'll apply to Harvard just to see if I can get in. Second, I plan to stay thrillable. I want to remain thrilled by a passage of music that I played just right, and by an aria that, although I've heard it a dozen times, I still shed tears at its beauty. Thrilled by the appearance of a deer alongside a mountain road looking back at me. Thrilled by a sunset awash with colors. Thrilled by an unexpected text from my granddaughter. Third, I plan to keep meeting people, like Sue from Brisbane, who told me she just hates it when she runs over a kangaroo on the road. And I want to keep doing wonderful, crazy things, like when I took a few Wiccan high priestess classes, or like when I line danced with Russian naval officers at an outdoor seafood restaurant, Istanbul. And Elizabeth, thank you for another moment I remembered, which was going to a drag show with my granddaughter in New York City. Wonderful, crazy things. But fourth and finally, I plan to keep on working at having a successful life. To that goal, I'd like to finish by reading another poem. It's called Success by Ralph Waldo Emerson. A copy of this poem has hung in every office and every house I've occupied for the last 40 years or so. It goes. To laugh often and much, to win the respect of intelligent people and the affection of children, to earn the appreciation of honest critics and endure the betrayal of false friends, to appreciate beauty, to find the best in others, to leave the world a better place, whether by a healthy child, a garden patch, or a redeemed social condition. To know that one life has breathed easier because you lived here. This is to have succeeded.
Mm. Thank you, Rebecca. And Ralph Waldo Emerson. It's a blessing you were born, Rebecca, and it matters what you do with your life. So may you have much success. And now we turn to our half plate ministry and take a few minutes for our offering. We're having as this quarter's half plate recipient the Insight Skills Center, which is in Fort Collins, and it provides low vision services to people in Colorado and Wyoming who are struggling with vision loss. Soon we'll invite a member of the Insight Skills Center to come and tell us more about what they do in their organization. But in the meantime, the giving link has been posted. Please give generously and enjoy the song, We Are Dancing Sarah's Circle.
We are dancing Sarah's circle. We are dancing Sarah's circle. We are dancing Sarah's circle. Sisters, brothers, here we seek and find our story. Here we seek and find our story. Here we seek and find our story. Sisters, brothers, we will all do our own naming. We will all do our own naming. We will all do our own naming. Sisters, brothers, every round a generation, every round a generation, every round a generation, sisters, brothers, on and on the circles moving, on and on the circles moving, on and on the circles moving, sisters, brothers,
Oh, it's so wonderful to see the 3 generations of Taylor Donna, and I think that's Donna's mom, right? So every round a generation. And so to bless our offering, we dedicate ourselves, and these are offerings, to the vision of this congregation, which is to radiate love, peace, and justice as together we work to build beloved community. Thank you. And more wild and precious lives, beginning now with Leonard Sokolowski.
Good morning. I had the question, wild and precious, but I had to go back to my late 20s. I was about to do something and I felt this touch on my shoulder. I thought it was my subconscious, but then I realized it was my guardian angel. And he told me, Leonard, you've done some mighty wild things already in your life, and some of them were quite dangerous. And I've had to work overtime to keep you going. So here's the deal. You reduce your wild activity and focus more on precious, and I'll stay with you. So we made that deal, and the angel and I are good buddies. But what about choices that shape our lives? When we're young, I call these necessary choices. Kind of like, should I go to school? What career should I have? Should I get married? How many children should we have? And where should we live? But now at almost 77, I'm more into elective decisions. Should I just sit in my recliner and drink beer and burp and watch football? Or perhaps I should spend more time with my family and extended family. I should spend more time with friends. I should travel near and far and enjoy the world. And even do some personal maintenance and growth. As you get older, you do tend to fall apart. But what should I do? Well, I believe I should try to be a good husband, a good father, grandfather, and a good friend. I should step out of my comfort zone and try to work towards better social changes. And I've been an athlete for several decades, and I continue to compete, and I throw the javelin. So one of my wild, but hopefully not wild ideas is to win a national championship. But I should also become and try to continue to be a good friend of the environment. Get out there and promote people enjoying the woods and hiking and fishing and taking part in all that. But maybe now I'll just take a nap and do all that later. But no, what should I do right now? One thing you have to remember that yesterday is gone, tomorrow is out of reach. So for me, I have these 3 letters that keep me in line, MIB, MIB. If you read Boys in the Boat about the 36 Olympic crew team, the coxswain in the back of the boat to keep the men focused would yell, MIB, stay focused. So I guess I need to be MIB and live each day to its fullest and try to enjoy life. And one thing in closing that I saw was very special on Friday. Sherry and I went to the Loveland Museum to see the sculpture exhibit. There was one bronze sculpture of a deer standing. His head was up, his ears were perked up, and one foot was off the ground. And the title of this sculpture was, Listen Hard, Walk Softly.
Thank you, Leonard. Listen hard, walk softly. It's a blessing you were born, Leonard, and it matters what you do with your one wild and precious life. And now our final speaker, O wise woman, Vicki Clark.
Wow, it was 14 years ago that I reflected on Mary Oliver's question and shared my thoughts with this congregation. It was fun to review that talk and appreciate that I had actually completed a couple major creative projects that I had dreamed about. While much has changed in 14 years, I noticed that my former lists are still a valid blueprint for what I want to do in life. And now through my 80-year-old lens, I'm tempted to echo the farmer's insurance commercial. I know a thing or two because I've seen a thing or two. The verdict on wild is still out, but believe me, with advancing age, life becomes even more precious. When my older sister sends email, she often puts two simple words in the subject heading: in touch. And right now that seems like an appropriate mantra for moving through the rest of my life. Top priority for me is staying in touch with family and friends. And that will take on a whole new dimension in May when we welcome our very first great grandchild, a little girl, we understand. I want to be in touch with people from my past who have had an impact on my life, to let them know that and to say thank you. I want to be in touch with the earth, continuing my daily walks, breathing in fresh air, sunshine, marveling at the clouds and flowers, trees, critters, and more. Recently, our daughter gifted me with a subscription to something called Storyworth, inviting me to write answers to weekly questions she sends. This has already put me in touch with some past family memories, and I expect I'll have glimpses into my future ahead. The great thing is these stories will be bound in a book at year's end, and this will give my family a way to be in touch with me both now and when I'm not around. As I guard the balance between being and doing, I will be in touch with stillness, as well as my creative stash of materials, the things that I like to create. My wild and precious life must include being in touch with laughter and a good dose of silliness, with kindness, with generosity, and with gratitude. In touch with myself, I want to take time for reading, listening to music, writing, wandering, and wonder. And then, as Chad reminded us last Sunday, I'll want to be in touch with my breath. Yes, I've seen a thing or two. And if I am in touch with learning some new things, I hope I'll be able to keep saying, I know a thing or two. So here's to being in touch with my wild and precious life.
Thank you, Vicki. I think you know it's a blessing you were born, and it matters what you do with your one wild and precious life. So what a blessing to be part of a multi-generational community like this. Our closing song is one the lyrics will show. It's called Let It Be a Dance by Rick Maston. So please feel free to sing along with your mute button on. I can just imagine Donna Leonard leading us in a dance and holding out her hand to people and leading them onto the dance floor and swirling them around and around and around in the circle game. So I hope that those of you who are speakers have been seeing the accolades and thanks and praise that has been pouring out through the chat room. And I think I speak for everyone when I say thank you from the bottom of our hearts for your sharing and for the blessing that this community is for all of us. And so now, Vicki, if you'd read the chalice extinguishing words, I'll extinguish our chalice.
I have adapted this from Martha Kirby Capo. Our time together here is finished. Every life is wild and precious. May our spirits be renewed and our resolve strengthened as we meet the challenges of the coming weeks. The chalice flame is extinguished until our precious lives commune again and we ignite our flame of justice and love.
And as we go round and round and round together in the dance and the circle game, may we continue to live our values out loud. And I want each of you to remember that it's a blessing you were born, and it matters what you do with your one wild and precious life. What each of us knows about God is a piece of the truth. Let the beauty you love be what you do, and know in your bones that you don't have to do it alone. Thank you, everyone. And our announcements include a reminder that this afternoon at 1 o'clock, back here in the Zoom room, we will have a celebration and remembrance of the life of Virginia Weigel. So I hope that many of you will come back for that. And then next week, we have another in our series of General Assembly remembrances, and it will be Sally Henry and Francie Liefert on this day before Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday to share with us a service of their learnings about marginalized people. So I hope to see all of you next Sunday and again this afternoon at the service for Jenny. And so now Sarah will put us into different breakout rooms for our virtual coffee hour.